Scruffy, yeah. I got into an argument the other day with another artist, and it was one of those arguments where we in the end, we realized that that we were what we were arguing about was so esoteric that it had, well, for most, it had very little grounding in reality. But I want to tell you about that argument. The other artist insisted with absolute authority that there was really no such thing as a muse, that the muse was us. Of course, I mentioned the original 9 muses: Calliope, Clio, Euterpe, Thalia, Terpsichore, Polyhymnia, and Urania. I'm sure I missed a couple. You probably know who I'm talking about. You're probably besties with them, right? Probably friends with them on Facebook and Twitter. You probably have your own muse social media, but they were so insistent that there was no such thing as a muse, and they said that it belittled the artist's creativity and the creative power. And of course, I didn't want to tell them that I feel like you're a real entity, and nor did I tell them that I actually have conversations with you, because I thought that best kept to myself. The last thing I need is to hear a knocking on my door, and to be fitted with a straitjacket and taken away, because in the current climate, you never know what could happen. And I tried to, I made my argument that the muse is the universe. And for some, the only means of talking with the universe is by way of gifting that entity with a sort of personality, not a personality, but a being. And they didn't buy it, and honestly, I didn't care, because this is a very personal thing. But the truth of the matter is, and this is how I feel very strongly about this, that if we depend solely upon ourselves and the filters with which we have developed over our years of growing from childhood to adulthood, then we do a number of things to our artistic skills and abilities. Number one, we limit them. We limit them to our own experiences. And we limit them even more so. We limit them to our filters. Because, as a child, we don't have these filters. Everything is wide open, and we can step outside of the house, and we can take in the yard, and we can see a tree, and that tree is a giant, and the giant's arms will sway with the wind and threaten to take us down and grab us and toss us into the air, which will send us into another realm. Now, as an adult, because we have these adult filters, we step outside, and that tree is a tree. Maybe an elm tree, it may be an oak tree, maybe a maple tree, but it's a tree. And those filters that are kind of forced on us by society weaken our imagination. So if we depend upon only the filters that we have inside of us to interpret the things that we see and experience, we are severely limited as artists. And so I like to think of the muse, my muse, you, as a kind of childlike entity that gives me the ability to see the world without my filters. And it's, I don't think that's so far-fetched. And I don't think that is an impossible task for anybody to achieve. All it takes is for you to be able to look at the world through your eyes as a child. You kind of have to go back in time. You have to invite Doc Brown into your house and say, Doc Brown, let me ride in the DeLorean with you so I can go back in time. Remember what it was like to look at the world with the wonder of a child. And bring that back to the present. Now, I have an advantage, I think. I aged physically, of course, and mentally I aged, but I don't think, maybe emotionally I did age, but I think that there's this other thing, this other thing that takes emotion, our emotional and mental capacity, and combines them into one thing. And it may have a name, I don't know, but that thing of mine never aged. And so I can still look at the world through these eyes as if I were a child. And I think that is the muse. I mean, yeah, I can still see the world for what it is. You know, a child doesn't look at the world and see corruption. I can still see all of those other things. I can look through my adult eyes as well when I need. But as a general rule, when I go about the day, I feel more like a child than an adult. And I think partially that is because of my connection to you. And what I think that does is it allows me to tell these fantastical tales that are unburdened by adulthood. While at the same time, yes, I can layer on adulthood to these tales, but I think for artists that's a necessity. I think you, as adults, our eyesight and our vision becomes very narrowed. And to be an artist, you have to widen it as far as you can. Otherwise, you're just looking through your own filters, and you're never going to have any other vision besides that, and it's going to be tunneled. I didn't know. I don't think I strengthened my argument about whether or not the muse exists, but for me, there is no question. And it has served me well. And it will continue to serve me well. And with that, pew, 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 I'm going to go back to writing some words. Thanks for hanging about, Muse. Maybe one of these days you and I can go to a coffee shop and get a drink, a beverage. Sit down and chat in public. Wouldn't that be delightful? I'm sure everybody would love to see that. Hey, what's he doing over there? Has he got a Bluetooth? He's talking on the phone with somebody? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he's